as I was sitting there, I was really inspired, by all the presentations that these kids made. I mean, they're what makes the Guide program successful, and the initiative that they take. And it's amazing because when they're at home, they're actually very excited about this. It's not like it's something that they're forced to do. It's coming from within, okay, which says a tremendous amount, really, about the sincerity, that these kids have. One thing that's interesting, you read different articles and they talk about, what amount of money does it take to actually make a person happy? And you get all these different figures, right? In the 6 figures, some in the 7 figures, whatever it might be. But when you read books on psychology to understand what really makes somebody happy, it's not when you amass money for yourself, but when you actually give it to somebody. Because every time you donate something to someone, at that point, you feel good inside. It's like a natural feeling. It's a natural essence, it's implanted in you to actually help other people.
The UMF Hungerteam is a strong branch of the United Muslim Foundation, an organization whose roots are deeply embedded into giving back to the local communities, a grassroots effort. And volunteering and working together with other charitable organizations of one Muslim faith. As volunteers, our mantra is to network with other charitable organizations and with Muslims of every sect and culture who also seek to better our society. As we all know, charity begins at home.
UMF is proud to be recognized as a Seminole County Public School approved community service organization too. So with that, our teen volunteers can find more opportunities than ever before to volunteer out of school and in the community of Sanford, Lake Mary, and its surrounding area.
Charity is also mentioned many times in the Holy Quran in Surah Ar-Rum, Ayah 39. It is said, whatever you give in charity, desiring Allah's pleasure, it is these people that shall get manifold. Allah has granted us with so many blessings, shelter and food. Our friends and family, we all have so much. So why not share it with the less fortunate? The more we give and the more we help in Allah's name, the better. Not only does it help others, but we learn from it. In the end, Allah will reward those charitable people very greatly.
Where all of us get together for a social gathering and interact with each other, which not only helps us get to know each other better, but also helps us learn how to better ourselves. I think it's a great way for us to have fun and learn valuable lessons at the same time. By playing together and being part of a team, it not only helps us learn more about ourselves, but also helps us engage better in groups as well as in our community as a whole.
To celebrate the life of Nelson Mandela, I want to share with you my most favorite quote that he has shared with us about poverty, and it really helped me change my idea of how I see poverty. So his quote was, "Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity. It is an act of justice. Like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural. It is man-made, and it can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings. Sometimes it falls on a generation to be great. You can be that generation. Let your greatness blossom." Thank you all.
UMF's Hungerteam is working to make sure that people don't go to bed hungry. In this country, in this state, and not very far from here, there are people who go to bed hungry on a regular basis. This is a very, very real issue. Alhamdulillah, we have food here, we have a bunch of food here, and we're about to eat more. There are people who don't have these luxuries in life. And it's not something that's far in Africa or India or somewhere else in the world. This is happening in our backyard. So we need to be aware of that. So UMF Hungerteam is working to help feed those who are hungry.
Thank you so much. Everyone's loving the food. It's amazing.
All right, so Masa, what was the best thing about today?
The best thing about today is all of you. Couldn't have done this without you. Wouldn't have been as much fun. So Shalina, what's your favorite part of today so far?
I think just hearing about all the great things UMF has done, playing the icebreaker game, and just getting together.
Getting to know people.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of UMF and making UMF PA incredible and starting it off.
Thank you for inspiring us.
If you've seen the logo of UMF, you know there's three main pillars that are holding up this organization. They're stated very clearly. Unity, charity, education. Unity, education, charity, whatever word you want to pick. Very, very important to those in our community and at a national level as well. We need to imply and input those as much as possible in our lives, as individuals first and then inshallah at the global level. So where did UMF begin from? Where did we start? So it was a winter in 2003. A group of Muslims have gotten together to prepare some meals and serve it to those who are less fortunate, those who didn't have a meal for them. And this was done by Masuma Virji and her team. And they had gotten together to prepare this meal, and it led to something phenomenal. It led to the formation of this organization and the UMF Hungerteam in particular. This organization, or this particular component of the organization, still functions till this day and is strong. It's something that we're continuing forward. Less than 2 years later, just about 2 years, maybe a little bit less, the Pennsylvania chapter, which Muhammad had spearheaded, began an Allentown area. And from then on, those two branches of UMF have been working very strongly to support those three goals that I had mentioned earlier. That is unity, that is education, that is charity, to help unite our local communities and beyond.
For unity does not mean to annihilate, but it means to assemble, to combine, and to gather. Think about it. If there was no diversity, Allah would not be described as the unifier. For what would He unify if there was nothing to unify? So diversity is then intended in the creation in order for the divine unifying attribute to manifest. What I loved about UMF is the fact that its members clearly understand the concept of a unified diversity.
Thousands of years ago, humans created civilization, and they promptly started taking the civil right out of it. It's sad to say that the history of warfare is the history of the human race. Ever since the first person picked up a rock and threw it at another human being, that time, we've since then done nothing but create more and more efficient ways of killing one another. Perhaps our greatest hope for a peaceful way forward is through understanding each other's cultures. And that takes personal effort from each and every one of us. It is only through peace and understanding that we will be able to find our way forward. Peace and understanding begin with the individual. Thank you.
Particularly in the grade school, there's ignorance in the colleges, but they are also attacked in the colleges. And in the grade school from Titusville, Volusia County, Orange County, Seminole County, there is a attempt to try to erase Islam from history.
United Muslim Foundation Hungerteam has been silently helping families need through volunteer-based community service since 2003. The UMF Hungerteam is a strong branch of United Muslim Foundation, an organization whose roots are deeply embedded into giving back to the local community.
When I moved to LA 2 years ago, I even took the experience that I gained through UMF and helped the new community that had joined. My involvement with UMF helped me realize that even our neighbors and civilians in our own city need to be reached out to first before we extend our hands to others overseas.
Last month, I served a day as a teacher at my son's public elementary school. I had the pleasure of teaching 44 fourth graders about what I do at UMF. I spoke to the children about their potential to make a difference and about passing it forward. You see, most children, they feel like they can't really make a difference in this world, that they're too little to achieve anything of value. But when I went in there, I saw marvels shining in their little faces and their big eyes as they focused on the stories of other children that I shared with them, just about their age, who were using their talents and their skills to change the world. Guides reflect on the gifts of Allah and their consequential responsibilities through study of those verses from the Holy Quran. Next is experience. UMF guides then experience the world through field trips and interactive presentations. Our guides have been on airplane simulations at flight training academies, kickboxed, and fed the homeless. They've been visited and inspired by a famous NBA player and a short movie producer. UMF guides empower themselves through creativity, using every medium from art to media productions. Last year, UMF guides created movies based on the training they received from the short film producer and hosted a movie night to showcase everything that they had created and what they had learned about sports, fitness, and flight. We are looking forward to a future where our children recognize that their faith and knowledge can empower them at a young age to make a difference in the world. And UMF Guides is excited to help them reach that potential. Thank you so much.
إنها العلياء تبغي مسلما أنت عنوان لأمجاد الأولى فاهجر الأوحال واصعد في السماء فاهجر الأوحال واصعد في السماء فارتقي في الخير وارقى أفقا إنها العلياء تبغي مسلما أنت عنوان لأمجاد الأولى فاهجر الأوحال واصعد في السماء فاهجر الأوحال واصعد في السماء لن ترى يوما ونجمك آفل فارفع الرايات وامضي قدما أسجد القنديل واشعل همة واركب الأهوال مهما أضلى